How much is DeathSpank based on you?
Not at all. At least I'd like to think not at all.
So let's kick it off. Just give me the concept of the game and short little burst.
Well, DeathSpank is a very kind of fun, quirky little game about this hero named DeathSpank, and he looks out for people in trouble and he gets rid of evil. And the story of the game kind of revolves around DeathSpank's lifelong search for this artifact called the Artifact, and he's kind of finally found it when the game starts. And so that's kind of where the player is he's found the artifact, but that really is kind of the beginning of the whole story, not the end.
It is a story of a man, some called a curse, and others called a hero. But a man they all called DeathSpank.
This is kind of a pet project for you, right? Like you started it many years ago. Is this the longest you've ever worked on a single game?
Yeah, if you can call it like working on a single game, yeah. It was about 5 years ago that a good friend of mine, Clayton Kozlaric, and we started doing these kind of flash comic strips for my website, Grumpy Gamer. And one of them, we just needed a kind of stupid, over-the-top action game hero. And we just on a whim called him DeathSpank because it was just such a silly, ridiculous name. But as time went on, Clayton and I couldn't stop talking about him. There was something about that character that we just loved. And when we started thinking about his world and we started thinking about, well, what if he really was in a game, the whole world just came to life so quickly. And I think, anytime you're working on an idea, there's the old cliche, well, this thing's going to write itself. But there's some truth to that. When you have an idea and you can't let it go, and it just keeps building and building and building with backstory and everything, that you just know you have something there. It's like, I don't want to let this go. And DeathSpank was one of those things.
One of the interesting things to me about the game is kind of the visual style. Like, it basically comes in over a hill as you go around. It's not like a globe, but it's just kind of fed into you in this unique way. But the engine that you build it in is flat, right? So kind of what's the inspiration there, and kind of how does that all come together for the art style?
Well, with the art style, what we wanted to do with the world is we wanted the world to feel in a way kind of intimate. And when you kind of look at the video, you can see that the world kind of curves. So when things in the distance, they kind of come up at you like this, rather than kind of fogging in, they come over, and it just makes the world feel kind of intimate and quaint in a way, and a little bit like storybookish. And that's really kind of what we were looking for with the whole look, the way we combined the 2D and the 3D, and there's almost a little bit of a kind of a pop-up book feel to all of that stuff, and the curvature of the world just emphasizes that.
But even though it is a 3D world, you want it to look more 2D, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I love 2D art. I love when an artist can take something in 2D and just craft every single pixel of that thing just to perfection. It's always what I've loved about the old adventure games like Monkey Island. But I also love 3D worlds because they're free and you can roam them and you can go anywhere you want. And I really wanted to combine those two things. So the whole world is completely in 3D. The landscape is all in 3D. But all of the things in the world are all done in 2D. Because the whole world is completely seamless. So you can play the game for 20 hours, you can go from one end to the other, and you will never see a load screen. Once you start the game up, there's never a load screen. Because I think whenever you do level transitions and load screens, I think it pulls the player out of the experience. And one of the things that I wanted to do with the technology that we've built here is have that kind of completely seamless world.
The game used to be episodic, but it's now not. So can you kind of talk about that transition and what changed?
Well, with episodic, I think we kind of joke you know, that you know, the game was too big to contain DeathSpank, that he's an impatient guy, and he'd just play all the episodes at once anyway. So it was really just taking these episodes and combining them into a much larger game. But what I didn't want to do was release a game that you played episode 1, then episode 2, then episode 3. So we took those episodes and we melded them all together. And the game is very nonlinear. So you can play it, you know, almost in any way that you want to play it, and you can start to play these you know, the different stories all simultaneously. So it's just kind of getting all that episodic together and just kind of stirring it all up. I think the thing that was most interesting to me, kind of about bringing this to life, was just to do something that was different. Was to not, you know, do a game that was just kind of the stock and trade stuff, but have a look that was just completely unique. And I wanted to have a look, and I think the fabulous artists here have completely achieved that. That if you see a screenshot of DeathSpank on the web, you just know that it's DeathSpank, because that art style is just so unique.